Hello and welcome to our session today, An Evolution of Collaboration for Institutional and Student Success. I am Amanda Burris. I'm a project coordinator for Great Plains IDEA.
And I'm Chelsea Barbercheck. I'm the Executive Director of Great Plains IDEA.
Hi, I'm Bronwyn Fees. I'm Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at Kansas State University and currently the Chair of the Great Plains IDEA Human Sciences Board.
And I'm Jim Deal. I'm a professor of human development and family science at North Dakota State University, and I teach in the Family Financial Planning program.
So today we are going to be talking about Great Plains IDEA. Great Plains IDEA is the Great Plains Interactive Distance Education Alliance. We are a national consortium of universities that offer programs and courses in agriculture and human sciences. So we are an alliance that strives to be the leader among online global consortia. We collaborate together to enrich the higher education experience for both learners and faculty, empowering them to change their lives and the lives of those around them. In our session today, we are going to be explaining the Great Plains IDEA model and providing insight into the structure and evolution of the alliance. So today we will explain how we are structured and how we allocate resources, how our alliance has evolved over the last 20 years, the benefits of our alliance for both institutions and students, and the lessons that we have learned.
But first, let's talk a little bit about how it works and everything that goes into Great Plains IDEA. So our students find their way to the Alliance either through a partner university or through gpidea.org, our website. So then when they're there, they can select any partner university that's participating in their program of interest. And this is regardless of their location. They don't have to pick the one that's in state. So students apply and are admitted to the university of their choice, and that becomes what we call their home university. So then if we move around our wheel here to the blue section, that home university is where they pay the common price, which we'll talk about shortly, and that's really their tuition. And then moving down to the green section, students take courses from participating partners and use university learning management systems to complete their coursework. So sometimes they might be taking a course from Texas Tech, who operates in Blackboard, and then maybe a course from the University of Nebraska, who would operate in a Canvas. So that LMS is totally up to the teaching university. And then the last section here is about degree granting. And so the student, when they complete their coursework, their certificate or degree is granted from their home university. It doesn't say Great Plains IDEA or online, and that's because Great Plains IDEA is simply infrastructure. Great Plains IDEA itself does not grant degrees.
So you might ask, how is this organization governed then? How do we coordinate with one another? Well, there is a structure that keeps us together as institutions. We are governed first by what we call our cabinet, which is our policy-making body, which is governed by or utilizes a handbook of policies and procedures. They're the ones who are responsible for reviewing all the policies that manage the Alliance. Under the cabinet, we have, as you can see on the diagram in front of you, two boards that are separated by their respective, broadly, disciplines. One of them is the Human Sciences Board of Directors and their member universities, and the other is the Ag IDEA Board of Directors. And those two respective boards work more intimately or closely with each program that's in their discipline area and supporting the faculty and the students within those programs. Underneath, or at the bottom of the Venn diagram, you can see the Alliance operations. This is the infrastructure that keeps us together. They're made up of this Alliance operation circle is made up of a management team and functional teams. The management team is often referred to as the lead institution team, and which you will hear a little bit more about. And then the functional teams are the collaborations across the different institutions that address different aspects of the Alliance. For example, the common price or tuition, which you will hear more about, working with students with disabilities, working with the department heads, working with the graduate deans, for example. And then there are many tools that have been developed in order to make the alliance work with respect to communication between the institutions. And we will hear a little bit more about those tools as well.
So let's dive into the management team here. So Amanda and I sit as a part of the management team. So the staff in our offices are located at Kansas State University. And that is a 5-year contract between the university and the cabinet that makes that happen. We've been at K-State since the beginning of the alliance, but at any point in any 5-year segment, any university could decide that they want to have the lead institution or the management team at their university, and so they could apply. What we do in the management team, I'm going to start over here on the left with the financial oversight. So we manage the alliance finances. Moving down, we also manage the data that resides in our independent student information system called Expansis, and Amanda will talk about that a little bit later. We also manage those student surveys that are at the program or alliance level. So maybe a program experience survey, something like that. We manage the website, which we maintain and update it regularly, and the main purpose of that website is for student recruitment. And then moving over to the right side, communications and logistics, we have many listservs that we maintain for each group. So faculty, each set of faculty has their own listserv. All the functional teams have their own listservs, the boards, the cabinets, and we're available to set up meetings, tracking people down, doing the doodle, doing the Zoom, all of that. So all of those logistics. Moving on to the next orange piece there on the right, the management team provides guidance from the policy and procedure manual to rotating leadership. So one of our principles, which you'll hear a little bit about, is to share leadership. And so we have rotating board chairs. So we help support them in that governance section. And then the support, program management support really looks like supporting the board if a group needs to have a curriculum refresh, or the faculty want a curriculum refresh, or any of that. We help support the board or support the program by being a liaison between that group and the board.
So as Bronwyn and Chelsea both mentioned, in addition to the governing bodies and the management teams, there is a lot of additional support from people at our member institutions. So we have a number of functional teams, which is a Great Plains idea term for small working groups of different representatives from our member institutions. And these groups or these teams differ as far as their purpose and as far as how frequently they're meeting. So for example, our department chairs are a group of people who are going to meet a little bit more regularly because they're potentially going to be meeting with program faculty or meeting with each other to talk about courses, course rotation, making plans for things like that. Whereas we have our CFOs, our chief financial officers, that really only come together once a year to discuss the common price and make recommendations on that. We have groups from our academic deans as well as our graduate deans that we need to call upon here and there as we are looking for, to make changes in policies and procedures or to get recommendations for things. And then we have groups that are working together a little bit more frequently, and a lot of that comes from those groups being more student facing, such as our campus coordinators and our disability support services group. So to give you a little bit of a deeper look at those two groups, first is our campus coordinators. The campus coordinators are a really critical part of the Alliance. The campus coordinators group are dedicated student support services people at each of our institutions who are working directly with students and with faculty and to make sure that all the students have what they need. So campus coordinators are working with the students at their home university to help them get enrolled in classes. They are helping them to facilitate access. So if a student is taking a course at North Dakota State University, but they're actually a K-State student, they're going to be working with the campus coordinator at North Dakota State and their home university campus coordinator to make sure that they're enrolled correctly and that they have the access that they need. That campus coordinator group is also the one who is handling the secure exchange of grades. So something that is important to know is that we have to have a way to securely exchange grades between universities. So we have our own student information system, which is called Expansis, and that is how we are able to exchange grades. So again, if a K-State student is taking a class at North Dakota State, the campus coordinators are able to enter those grades into our student information system, and those can then be put into the home university student information system, which is actually where the student's official transcript and record lives. So the campus coordinators, again, very important group when it comes to supporting students. Another important group that is there to provide support for students is our disability support services group. So we want to make sure that whether a student is taking classes at their home university or a teaching university, that they have any accommodations and support that they need. So this is a group that comes together to make sure that that flow is working well for students. So for example, a student might make a request at their home university for accommodations, and then that university DSS office will communicate with the teaching university DSS office to make sure that the accommodations are communicated and that they are being provided to the student at the university where they're taking that class. So that's a group that comes together at least a couple times a year just to make sure that that process is still working and that there's not any changes that need to be made.
All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit from student services into the financial model of Great Plains IDEA. So I want to start off by saying that, as Amanda mentioned previously, that our financial officers meet annually to determine the common price. And so our policy and procedure manual dictates that we neither be the highest cost provider nor the lowest cost provider. So we're looking at the tuition at our member universities and trying to make sure we are somewhere in the middle of that. There is no in-state or out-of-state tuition. There are no distance delivery costs. What a student sees is what they pay for tuition and fees. So kind of let's go around the wheel here, and the teaching university, you can see there is the biggest portion of that, and so that's 75% of the common price, or that tuition that comes in from students, and that goes to the teaching university. Another 12.5% of the tuition goes to what it says here, the admitting university, or also what we've called the home university. And then the last 12.5% comes centrally to the Alliance. And so a portion of that last 12.5% that goes to the Alliance is to cover staff salaries and in management operations and the management team. Another portion of that goes to the boards and cabinet. The board and cabinet both tend to reinvest their money in programs and tools that benefit the Alliance. For example, we recently completed an initiative that focused on online teaching quality. So the board put out calls for mini grants, and so faculty could and programs could write about what they wanted to do to increase, or excuse me, to increase their teaching quality, and they were able to be awarded those funds and do that.
Thank you, Chelsea. And I'll add just a few more comments about the financial picture. When an institution becomes a member of the Great Plains Alliance, there are no, they pay a membership fee, a one-time membership fee, but there are no annual membership fees that go with that membership. You can also see that the money that comes into the institution comes from the tuition that students pay, and it's proportioned by whether or not your students are taking classes at your institution or other institutions, and where your faculty are teaching or not teaching. Great Plains IDEA has no property of its own. We do have the lead institution, but they don't own property. There is no building to go to that says Great Plains IDEA, for example. They are the infrastructure that holds, that lead institution is the infrastructure that holds the Alliance together, if you will. So what does the institution provide? Well, the institution, each institution is responsible for providing course development, the delivery costs, the faculty assignments, those kinds of contributions to making the Alliance work.
So a little bit about the history of the Alliance right now. And this all started back in 1994 when deans from 7 institutions got together and started talking about a collaborative master's degree program. 6 years after that, in 2000, the first distance courses were finally offered that were shared among those institutions, and they were offered in family financial planning. And that same year, that group of deans received a FIPSI LAP grant to create policy and infrastructure for the Alliance. And things really started moving at that point. In 2001, the finalization of the bylaws was completed. The memorandum of agreement between universities were completed. In 2003, the common price model was implemented, and the expansive system was created. And in 2008, we expanded with the Ag Idea program, which involved a second board of directors, which then led to the creation of the cabinet. And finally, in 2017, the website was overhauled specifically to focus on content that was aimed at student recruitment. A couple of important points from this. The first is that we started out after 6 years offering courses just in one program. Others were added, others were developed, some were sunsetted because they didn't quite work, but we didn't just jump into this with everything intact. We started out with just one program. And to get to that one program, it really took an army of people. We talked a lot there about the deans, but it was the deans, it was the faculty, the department heads, the provosts, the chief financial officers, the registrars, the continuing education people. It really took an army of administrators to get all the structural issues worked out and to get us to the academic programs. And the core of those, the core of what we do as an alliance are our academic programs. And the core of our academic programs are our faculty teams. Each academic program has a faculty team. They are the point people for the curriculum. They develop the proposals for course offerings, the proposals for course rotation, the assignment of courses to institutions. They're the ones who make sure that when courses are taught at multiple institutions, that they are consistent across those institutions. Our faculty groups meet face-to-face at least once a year and sometimes more, and then typically virtually another 2 to 3 times a year. So communication among the faculty is really a critical component. Their proposals, their recommendations then go to the department heads of the affiliated programs. They also meet together multiple times a year. They review those proposals, approve them, work with their respective deans to help keep our academic programs running smoothly. It is helped by the fact that each university requires the same core curriculum. For most of our programs, the number of credit hours are the same. All of our courses are reviewed and approved by each individual university. When we start looking at outcomes and assessment, we evaluate individual courses at the departmental level, but we do program evaluation at the alliance level. Now, there are institutional differences in how we define graduate faculty and what our course numbers and names are, semester start dates and things like that. But it really is foundational to the institution that we respect those differences and that we treat each other as equals. So if a course is a 600 level course at one institution, for example, and an 800 level at another one, that's okay. If University A defines grad faculty as X, Y, and Z, and University B defines it completely differently, that's okay as well. We respect those differences. If a faculty member is approved as grad faculty at one program, one university for the purpose of the institution, they're approved at all of them. That level of respect, that level of equal treatments across institutions is something that's very, very important to how we operate as an alliance, and it's something that we work very, very hard to maintain.
So as you've heard, Great Plains certainly didn't start the way it looks today. It has grown over the years. I think it's important to remember that the institution or the alliance started because there were a group of institutions that wanted to offer a program, but no program could or institution was able to offer it alone. And that's the basis for the collaboration, is that we support one another to offer those programs that we may not be able to offer just alone. So we started with one program and we expanded to multiple programs over time. And in that process, we've also had institutions who have joined us and institutions who have left for a variety of reasons. And that may be because, one of them may be because the institution was able over time to be able to offer the full degree program on their own. So programs have come and gone. Institutions have also come and gone as it's been relevant to supporting the missions of those institutions and the programs that they wish to offer. So we have expanded over time, and not only in the institutions that participate, but also in the services that we offer. That over time we have become much more keen to offering the specific student services that our students tell us that they need, trying to be adaptive and accommodating to those students who have described what challenges they may have faced, and we've been very attentive to try to address them and to support them in their academic journey. And that's resulted in a variety of different programs, as you've already heard described.
Thanks, Bronwyn. So as everyone has learned so far today, there has been a lot of growth and a lot of change, and that has also come with a lot of lessons learned over the last 20 years. So to wrap things up today, we're going to talk a little bit about some of those things that we have learned throughout the history of the Alliance.
Thank you, Amanda. So if you haven't already picked out the 4 principles, we are guided by 4 principles that make this Alliance organization work. One of them is shared leadership, and our illustrations, I think, represent that well. We also behave as equals, as has been described. We try to respect at all times the institutional differences that our members bring. We try to accommodate, and we certainly are respectful of those and work within those different systems as the best we can. Often learn a lot from one another by respecting those differences. And we try to make it the best student experience that we can. We simplify the student navigation through the infrastructure that the lead institution provides for us, so that students can move through the process of their degree program successfully. And number 2, on your screen, the Alliance works because of these relationships. Well, I think that's kind of been said as well, that we are all in this together collaboratively to offer different degree programs. It works because we collaborate with one another, and we follow these principles quite closely in everything that we do.
Great. I will take the second 2 here. So over time, there's been 2 models. So we kind of have delivery of programs, and we have more of a course share model. And I will say the financial model is set up for putting students through programs. And so this operating in full programs allows us to be more financially stable. That second point, faculty groups meet regularly, just as they would at any single institution. So you have a faculty meeting. Some of our programs meet monthly, have a faculty meeting monthly virtually, and some of them have them quarterly. But that communication, as Jim alluded to, is really the key for programmatic success.
The common price that we have benefits all of us as well. It keeps us from competing with one another, because there's no program shopping by our students looking for the lowest cost. Keeps everybody on equal footing, which is a really good thing. And then the benefit here, I think we talk a lot about the benefit of the Alliance to students, because they get to work with faculty from multiple institutions, most of whom are just really, really great faculty. I mean, you could not put together this group of people in a single department, and students get a wonderful experience of being exposed to these different folks. But it also benefits the departments as well. At NDSU, for example, we are a relatively small department. We would not be able to offer the master's degrees that we offer in the programs that we offer were it not for GPIDEA. By working with the other institutions, we're able to participate in a variety of really good degree programs, and our students have access to those really good degree programs as well. So it really is just a wonderful thing that benefits both us as an academic department and our university, as well as the students that are in our programs.
We want to thank everyone so much for watching our presentation today and attending. If you have any questions after today, we would be more than happy to answer those for you. You can reach out to us individually, or you can contact the Alliance by going to our website or sending us an email. Thank you again.